Bringing timeless Buddhist principles to everyday life, we explore mindfulness, compassion, and self-awarenessness in a modern context. By connecting ancient wisdom to today's challenges, we guide you toward inner peace, clarity, and resilience. Welcome to Radiant Wisdom.
Welcome to Radiant Wisdom, a space for reflection, growth, and inner peace. In today's fast-paced world where stress and anxiety seem unavoidable, finding true serenity can feel like an impossible task. But what if peace isn't something we need to chase? What if it's already within us, waiting to be uncovered? In this episode, we'll explore the art of inner peace, how to cultivate it, protect it, and live in alignment with it. We'll uncover the hidden reasons why peace often feels so elusive and share timeless wisdom to help you navigate life's challenges with clarity and calm. Before we begin, take a deep breath. Inhale, exhale. Let this be a moment of stillness in your day. If you find this journey meaningful, consider liking, sharing, and commenting, not just to support the channel, but to spread this wisdom to others who may need it. Now let's step into a world beyond distractions, beyond worries, beyond the noise, into a place where true peace begins. The elusive nature of peace. What does peace mean to you? Is it the silence of a quiet morning, free from responsibilities? Is it financial security, a life without stress, or a love that never fades? For many, peace feels like something just out of reach, something they will finally have when circumstances are perfect. I'll be at peace when I have more money. I'll be at peace when I find the right partner. I'll be at peace when life slows down. But have you ever noticed that whenever you reach one of these milestones, a new worry takes its place? Maybe you finally get the promotion, but now you worry about performance. You finally buy the dream house, but now you stress over the mortgage. You find the love you were searching for, but now you fear losing it. Peace always seems one step ahead, always slipping through your fingers. This is because most of us have been conditioned to believe that peace is an external achievement, something that comes from fixing, improving, or controlling our outer world. But this is a dangerous illusion. Why? Because external conditions are always changing. The world is unpredictable. People change. Economies shift. Relationships evolve. If our peace depends on these things, we will always live in fear. Afraid of losing what we have, afraid of never getting what we want. Buddhism teaches that true peace does not come from controlling life, but from changing how we relate to it. Peace is not about removing all problems, it's about learning to remain steady within them. Think about the ocean. On the surface, waves rise and crash, sometimes gentle, sometimes violent. But deep below, in the heart of the ocean, there is stillness. No matter how chaotic the surface becomes, the depths remain undisturbed. Your mind works the same way. Most people live on the surface, constantly tossed by thoughts, desires, and fears. But true peace is found when you learn to go deeper, to detach from the turbulence and rest in something more profound. Here's a question. When was the last time you sat in complete silence with no distraction? No phone, no music, no conversations, just you and your thoughts? For many, this is uncomfortable. The moment they are alone with themselves, they feel restless. They reach for their phone. They turn on the TV, they fill the silence with anything they can find. Why? Because most people are afraid of stillness, afraid of what they might find when there is nothing left to distract them. But peace is not found in escaping yourself. It is found in facing yourself. It is in embracing stillness rather than running from it. It is in realizing that the search for peace out there is an illusion, because the only place peace has ever existed is within you. So the question is not, how do I find peace? The real question is, what within me is keeping me from the peace that is already here? Why we struggle to find peace. If peace is something we carry within, why does it seem so difficult to find? The answer lies in how we have been conditioned to think, feel, and live. In modern society, distraction, ambition, and control are often valued more than stillness, contentment, and acceptance. We are taught that happiness comes from achievement, that success requires constant striving, and that we must always be moving toward the next thing. But this way of living comes at a cost. Our minds are never at rest. Consider this: from the moment we wake up, our senses are bombarded. We check our phones before getting out of bed. We scroll through news, social media, emails, consuming an endless stream of information. The world tells us what we should want, what we should fear, and what we should chase. And so our minds never stop running. Even in moments of stillness, we feel uneasy. If there's nothing to do, we create something. Watching TV, browsing the internet, making mental to-do lists. We fear silence because it forces us to face ourselves, our thoughts, our emotions, our unresolved worries. This is why peace feels so distant, not because it is far away, but because we have filled our lives with so much noise that we can no longer hear it. In our culture, busyness is worn like a badge of honor. People say, "I'm so busy," with a mix of exhaustion and pride. To be constantly occupied means to be important, successful, or productive. But busyness is often just a distraction from discomfort. Have you ever had a free day but felt guilty for not being productive? Have you ever finished one goal only to immediately set another, unable to enjoy the moment? This is because we are addicted to doing, constantly moving, achieving, and fixing, without realizing that this endless striving is exactly what keeps peace out of reach. Imagine running on a treadmill that never stops. No matter how fast you run, no matter how much you accomplish, there is always another step to take. You can't get off. This is how most people live, always reaching for the next thing, believing that peace will come later, when in reality, it is available only now. The illusion of control. Another reason peace feels unattainable is that we believe we must control life to find it. We think, "Hey, my job was better. If only my relationship was perfect. If only I had more money, then I could finally relax." But control is an illusion. Life is unpredictable. No matter how much we plan, unexpected things happen. People change, economies shift, health declines, opportunities disappear. If our peace depends on everything going our way, we will always live in fear, afraid of what we might lose, afraid of what might go wrong. True peace does not come from controlling life. It comes from accepting life. It is the difference between trying to calm the waves of the ocean and learning to float. The waves will always come. But if you let go and trust the water, you don't need to fight. You simply stay afloat. So, how do we stop struggling and start experiencing peace? It begins with a shift in mindset. Pause and observe. Notice how often your mind is caught in planning, worrying, or seeking distraction. The first step to change is awareness. Let go of control. Instead of resisting what is, try accepting it, not with resignation, but with wisdom. Embrace stillness. Start small. Spend just 5 minutes a day in silence without distraction. Over time, this practice will become easier and peace will feel less foreign. Peace is not something we must chase, it is something we must allow. The more we stop resisting, the more naturally it arises. The story of the restless monk. There is an old Zen story about a monk named Huika, who sought inner peace but could never seem to find it. His mind was always racing. Thoughts of the past, worries about the future, endless desires and frustrations. No matter how hard he tried, he could not quiet his restless mind. One day, desperate for relief, Huika traveled to visit the great Zen master Bodhidharma. After bowing deeply, he said, "Master, my mind is troubled. I cannot find peace. please help me calm it." Bodhidharma looked at him for a moment and replied, "Bring me this restless mind of yours, and I will pacify it." Huka was confused. He sat down, closed his eyes, and began searching for his troubled mind. He looked for it in his thoughts, in his emotions, in his fears. But no matter how hard he tried, he could not find a physical thing to present to his master. After a long silence, he finally opened his eyes and said, "Master, I have searched everywhere, but I cannot find my restless mind." Bodhidharma smiled and said, "Then I have already pacified it." In that moment, Huika understood. His restless mind was not a real, tangible thing. It was something he was creating through his own attachment to thoughts and emotions. The more he searched for peace, as if it were something to obtain, the more restless he became. But when he stopped chasing after peace and simply observed his mind, he saw the truth. The restlessness was never real. It was just passing clouds in an open sky. Many of us live like Huika, constantly searching for peace, hoping that one day we will finally attain it. But in doing so, we create the very restlessness we wish to escape. The more we try to force peace, the more elusive it becomes. Think about a pond. When the water is disturbed, it ripples and becomes muddy. If you keep stirring it, trying to make it clear, it only becomes more chaotic. But if you simply stop, the water settles on its own. The same is true for the mind. When you chase peace, when you try to control every thought, suppress every emotion, and force yourself to be calm, you only create more tension. But when you let go and simply observe, peace arises naturally. How this applies to everyday life. Most of us believe that if we just solve all our problems, then we will be at peace. But life will always have challenges. There will always be something to fix, something to improve, something to change. If we keep waiting for the perfect moment to relax, we will be waiting forever. Instead, the lesson of Huika's story teaches us that peace is not found in removing problems, but in changing how we relate to them. The next time you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself, where is this restlessness coming from? Is it coming from the present moment or from my own thoughts and expectations? Can I observe this feeling without trying to fight it? What happens when I simply notice my stress rather than resisting it? What if peace isn't something I need to find at all? What if it's already here, waiting for me to stop running? Bodhidharma's wisdom reminds us that peace is not something out there. It is something that is already within us, hidden beneath the noise of the mind. All we have to do is stop searching and allow it to reveal itself. The power of acceptance. One of the greatest obstacles to inner peace is resistance, our tendency to reject, fight against, or wish things were different than they are. We tell ourselves, "I'll be happy when things change," but this mindset only creates suffering. Buddhism teaches the concept of tathata, or suchness, the ability to accept things exactly as they are, without resistance or judgment. When we embrace acceptance, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering and open the door to peace. Why do we resist? Imagine you are stuck in traffic, running late for an important meeting. You grip the steering wheel, feeling your frustration build. You check the time over and over, hoping the cars will magically move faster. You might even start blaming others, the driver ahead of you, the city planners, even yourself for not leaving earlier. But no matter how much you resist the situation, the traffic remains the same. The only thing that changes is your inner state, your stress, your tension, your frustration. Now imagine a different response. Instead of resisting, you accept. You take a deep breath. You acknowledge that nothing you do will change the traffic. So instead of fuming, you listen to music, observe the world around you, or simply enjoy a moment of stillness. The situation is exactly the same, but your experience of it is completely different. This is the power of acceptance. It doesn't mean giving up or being passive. It means choosing peace over struggle. Acceptance is not weakness. Many people think acceptance means resignation, that if we accept things as they are, we won't take action to improve our lives. But true acceptance is not about giving up, it's about seeing reality clearly without unnecessary resistance. Consider a person facing financial difficulties. If they resist reality, they may waste energy complaining, blaming others, or living in denial. But if they accept their situation, they can focus on solutions, budgeting, learning new skills, seeking opportunities. Acceptance doesn't mean we stop trying to change things. It means we stop wishing reality were different while doing nothing about it. Letting go of the illusion of control. Much of our suffering comes from the belief that we must control everything to be at peace. We want people to act a certain way. We want life to unfold according to our plans. But life is unpredictable, and the more we try to control it, the more frustrated we become. Think of holding a handful of sand. If you squeeze it tightly, trying to keep it all in your grasp, the sand slips through your fingers. But if you hold it gently with open hands, it stays in place. Life works the same way. The more we cling to expectations, to control, to perfection, the more peace slips away. But when we let go and trust the flow of life, we find a deep, lasting serenity. A daily practice of acceptance. How can we cultivate more acceptance in daily life? 1. Pause and observe. The next time you feel frustrated, stop and ask yourself, am I resisting this moment? 2. Shift your perspective. Instead of seeing difficulties as obstacles, try viewing them as opportunities for growth. 3. Let go of should thinking. Notice how often you think, this shouldn't be happening. What if, instead, you asked, how can I work with what is? 4. Practice mindfulness. Stay present. Most resistance comes from dwelling on the past or fearing the future. Peace exists only now. The world will never be perfect. People will be difficult. Situations will be unpredictable. Plans will fail. But peace is not about making the world bend to our will. It's about learning to move with life rather than against it. When we embrace acceptance, we free ourselves from the exhaustion of resistance. We stop fighting what we cannot change. We reclaim our energy for what truly matters. And in that space, where struggle fades and trust takes its place, peace naturally arises. Mindfulness, the gateway to peace. In our search for peace, we often look outside ourselves, changing our jobs, our relationships, or our environment, hoping that something external will finally bring us calm. But true peace is not found in rearranging life's circumstances. It is found in how we experience each moment, no matter what is happening around us. This is where mindfulness becomes the key. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present, aware of your thoughts, emotions, and surroundings without judgment. It is the art of experiencing life as it is instead of being lost in regrets of the past or worries about the future. Think about the last time you drank a cup of coffee or tea. Were you truly present, noticing the warmth of the cup, the aroma, the taste? Or were you lost in thought, planning your day or scrolling through your phone? Most of us live on autopilot, rarely paying attention to the present moment. We eat while watching TV, walk while checking our phones, and listen to others while thinking of our response. As a result, life passes by unnoticed, and we wonder why we feel restless or disconnected. Mindfulness brings us back to the present, where peace has always been waiting. How mindfulness transforms the mind. Science has shown that mindfulness physically rewires the brain. Studies using MRI scans have found that mindfulness practice reduces activity in the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for stress and fear, while strengthening areas related to emotional regulation and focus. In other words, mindfulness literally makes us calmer and more resilient. A simple mindfulness practice. One of the easiest ways to practice mindfulness is through mindful breathing. Try this. 1. Pause whatever you're doing and take a deep breath. 2. Focus on the sensation of the air entering your nose, filling your lungs, and leaving your body. 3. If thoughts arise, and they will, don't fight them, simply notice them and return to your breath. Even 1 minute of mindful breathing can bring clarity and calm. Over time, this simple practice trains your mind to be less reactive and more at peace. Applying mindfulness to daily life. Mindfulness is not just about meditation, it is a way of living, bringing full awareness to even the smallest moments. Eating mindfully. Instead of rushing through meals, slow down. Notice the flavors, textures, and smells. Walking mindfully. Pay attention to each step, the feeling of the ground beneath you, the air on your skin. Listening mindfully. The next time you have a conversation, truly listen. Be fully present, rather than thinking about what to say next. Observing thoughts. Throughout the day, take moments to notice your thoughts. Are they helpful? Or are they fueling stress and negativity? One of the most powerful lessons of mindfulness is that thoughts and emotions are not permanent. They come and go like waves in the ocean. Most of our suffering comes from clinging, holding on to thoughts, fears, or desires as if they define us. But through mindfulness, we learn to observe without attachment. We see that no thought or feeling is final. Everything passes. When we stop identifying with every emotion, we gain freedom. Freedom from overthinking, from emotional turbulence, from the need to control everything. Mindfulness is not a complicated practice. It is simply the act of returning to the present moment again and again. With mindfulness, we stop chasing peace as something to be achieved in the future. Instead, we realize that peace has always been available, right here, right now. All we have to do is pay attention. The illusion of control. One of the biggest reasons we struggle to find peace is our deep-rooted belief that we must control everything: our future, our relationships, our success, even how others perceive us. We tell ourselves that if we just plan enough, work hard enough, or worry enough, we can make life go exactly as we want. But life doesn't work that way. No matter how much we try, things will always happen that are beyond our control. Unexpected events, changes in circumstances, other people's choices. And the more we resist this truth, the more we suffer. Why we cling to control. From a young age, we are taught that control equals security. If we study hard, we'll get good grades. If we work diligently, we'll be successful. If we make the right choices, we'll be happy. But as we grow older, we realize that life doesn't always follow our expectations. Sometimes, despite our best efforts, things fall apart. A job opportunity disappears. A relationship ends. A carefully planned future takes an unexpected turn. When this happens, many of us panic. We feel lost, anxious, even angry. Because the world is not bending to our will, we feel powerless, and that terrifies us. So we try even harder to control things. Overthinking, micromanaging, trying to force outcomes. But this only creates more stress, more frustration, more suffering. Imagine a large rock sitting in the middle of a river. The water could try to resist the rock, pushing against it with force. But no matter how much it struggles, the rock remains unmoved. But what does the river actually do? It flows around the rock. It does not fight or resist. It simply adapts. Over time, the water's gentle persistence will even smooth the rock's rough edges. We often live like the struggling water, resisting life's obstacles, believing that if we just try hard enough, we can push everything into place. But true peace comes when we learn to flow, to stop fighting what we cannot change, and instead work with life as it is. Letting go of the need to control. Letting go of control does not mean we stop caring or stop taking action. It simply means we recognize the difference between what we can influence and what we must accept. What we can control: our attitude, our actions, our choices. What we cannot control: other people's actions, external circumstances, the future. The key to peace is learning to focus on what is within our power and letting go of the rest. If you struggle with control, try this simple practice. 1. Take a sheet of paper and draw a line down the middle. 2. On the left side, write down everything you are currently worried about. 3. On the right side, divide the worries into 2 categories. Things you can control, things you cannot control. 4. For the things you can control, list 1 small action you can take. 5. For the things you cannot control, take a deep breath and remind yourself, I surrender this. I release my need to control it. This exercise helps you visually separate what is worth your energy and what is only draining you. Over time, practicing this mindset creates a deep sense of inner freedom. The less we try to control everything, the more peaceful and often the more effective we become. A relaxed mind makes better decisions than an anxious one. People are drawn to those who exude calm, not those who are desperate to control outcomes. When we trust life, we begin to see opportunities where we once saw obstacles. By loosening our grip, we actually gain more of what we truly want: clarity, resilience, and a deep, unshakable sense of peace. The world is uncertain. Life will always be unpredictable. But peace does not come from controlling everything. It comes from trusting that we don't have to. Like the river flowing around the rock, we can learn to move with life instead of against it. The question is, are you ready to let go? So where do we go from here? First, stop searching. Peace is not in the next job, the next relationship, the next vacation. It's here, now, in your ability to be present. Second, practice acceptance. Life will never be perfect, but peace is not about perfection, it's about perspective. Third, embrace stillness. Spend time in silence. Notice your breath. Watch your thoughts pass like clouds in the sky. Inner peace is not reserved for monks in the mountains. It's for anyone willing to slow down, let go, and trust the present moment. If this message resonated with you, share your thoughts in the comments below. What does peace mean to you? Let's continue this journey together. Until next time, stay present, stay peaceful.